Good day, everybody. Matthew from Captive Audience Comics here. Well, we finally got one of our backlogged boxes back from CGC. As I'm sure you are all aware, CGC has some major backlog issues, especially around vintage comics. Although the delays in vintage comics is translating into delays in other grades of comics as well. Quite often, for our return submissions, we do combined return shipping between submissions. That is so we can make sure that the prices that we charge for our customers, we can keep as low as possible. We all know that sometimes the return shipping from CGC can actually be more than the grading cost of the books. You know, 1 to 5 books coming back from CGC, they charge $80 US per box. Now, that obviously is why people want to ship back in the maximum size box of 25. Sometimes, though, you don't have 25 vintage books ready to go. A lot of our big customers that we clean and press for, and we clean and press hundreds, thousands of books for, they submit on their own, which is fine because they're large enough that they can recoup some of the benefit of those premium level account services. But if you're just a person who wants to send a book in every once in a while, you don't want to pay those return shipping fees. So we combine, and we can combine different tiers. We can combine vintage and modern to return in the same box. It's difficult. But we've negotiated with CGC on how to do that to save you guys some money. Now, unfortunately, that means that if one tier gets a long delay over another, obviously it gets held up there. Also, with signature verification, that could cause additional delays, obviously, because it has to go to third-party verification before it goes for grading. But anyways, finally got a box back. So we're gonna do an unboxing here for you. We have our overhead cam set up today. Last time I know we didn't have the overhead cam set up, but we should be good to go for today. I have my matcha green tea from Japan here with me so I don't get too dry in my throat with all the weather changes going around. So let's get the overhead cam up here. Okay, that is working. I will grab my trusty knife from behind my green screen here. The box is massive. I guess because of the way that the bubble wrapping is required for these 25 lots. The box is like probably 6 inches taller than previous 25 box. But frankly, if that keeps the ME mechanical damage to a minimum, then more power to them. Let me see. Who are they advertising now with CGC? Oh, I don't know. Landry Pop Auctions. I don't know how much they charge. I mean, these guys must pay a lot of money to have their auction information sent back through CGC. Never really looked into that. It's not something we'd be looking to do, but it is interesting that happened. Okay, first blob, and I've noticed that they are now logoed. So these air pockets weren't logoed before, and now they're actually logoed CGC Comics. So if you are using these for shipping of your books back, then you're providing free advertising for CGC when you do sell. So one note on these: everything in this shipment, I shouldn't say everything. 24 out of 25 books came back at or higher than our expectation. One book came back at like a half grade lower, like a 9.6 to a 9.4 or something like that. So that's pretty good. So let's get started here. So we have a. Let me adjust this down a bit for you guys. There you go. Venom Lethal Protector number 1 in a 9.8. Apologies for this spot, this spot reflection. I recently did some lighting upgrades in my office, and I have to put a dimmer on that. Case looks good. Now, as far as Banana Gate, I mean, there is a curve on this book in the case. It's not, it's not drastic or anything. But there is, I don't even know if you probably can't even get my camera to focus on the curve. Yeah, it's hard to see. You can kind of see the bit of the curve in there. Not enough of a curve to cause damage. This is not like the kind of curving that you saw with some of those other ones with the drastic curves, but there is a bit of a curve in there. Amazing Spider-Man 365 in a 9.4. Now it's funny because this book in a 9.8 at one point was going for like $800 a book. I had a bunch of them, sold all sorts of them. Still, in my opinion, in the current market, still worth grading in a 9.4 or higher. And because this book is so thick, it's easy to get 9.4s. They do tend to have a stress line in, let me see if I can get, yeah, you can just see it there. There's a stress line in the middle here because the book is so thick and they get pinched when they were shot and when they were, I guess, sent through the shipper or packaging from the printers, because I see the same crease in the same spot like on hundreds of these books. Luckily, they are not dinging for flaws in the hologram. You can actually see these spots in here. That's actually abrasions on the hologram, little round spots that I see. They don't really seem to be dinging you for those, probably because that's just the way that they are coming out. Again, case looks good. I have not had a case problem since they switched to the whole case sonic welding instead of just the top and bottom edge where the sides you can pull open. Once they started doing full case sonic welding, I have not had a case separation issue, which is nice. Spider-Man 2099 number 1 in a 9.6. Again, it's an all foil cover. Case looks good. I think this book had some like stapleware or something like that. I can't remember. There's tiny little creases around the staples, which unfortunately is common in the foil books, especially if you look in the top here. Come on, get my camera to readjust here. Come on, camera, you can do it. There it goes. You'll see that this top staple, it comes in shallow on the book. It's not straight onto the spine. And when they come in shallow, they stress the foil where that staple goes in. Technically, it's a manufacturing defect, but if that shallowness causes like a staple wear, then they're going to count that as a flaw in the book. Web of Spider-Man number 70 to 9.6. This is the first Spider Hulk. It's interesting how some of these books, when we were doing our sort of valuations, at the 9.6s now were worth getting graded, where the books like this used to be, really you needed 9.8 to make them worthwhile. But 9.6s now seem to be, okay. That's assuming you've got a good eye for grading. Like you wouldn't want to send in a 9, was borderline 9.6, came back to 9.4. Our rule of thumb for most books is has to be worth over 100 US to bother for grading. So first appearance of Jubilee, Uncanny X-Men 244 at a 9.4. And it's funny because this is a book that seems to be underrated. I buy a lot of collections where this book is in there, and you could tell that they've gone through and they've sold off, all the other minor keys, because sometimes you'll go through like a series and every single book that's a minor or a major key is gone. And a lot of times I'll find these, and you can find them in high grades. I mean, you usually get them in between 9.4s. Well, 9.4, 9.6s. We occasionally get them in at a 9.8. So they're a good book to keep an eye out for. Hey. Let's see here. Next section. Ooh, this is a big boy. Ugh. So again, giant bubble bag. So this 25 box actually came back with three separate bubble sections in it. So they obviously have these bubbles set up in like predetermined numbers of slabs, so they can just basically grab the size that they need and put them in. So I guess we'll just do this here. Okay. So oh yeah, this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 105. This is the Slab City Comics edition. These are the Virgin. I'm not sure if we're calling these Virgin character covers. But each cover features one of the turtles. Now, and you can see that the back is in basically all white back. And I can't remember. Yeah, I mean this one. Yeah, actually, yeah, I can see why this one got a 9.6 out of a 9.8. I'll see if I can get it for you. It's the stapleware. Let me see here. Yeah, see how wide that hole is around that staple up there? There and the bottom. So you got stapleware around those holes. So this comic, the cover, it was probably jarred, and the cover caused stapleware against the inner pages. Because I think that was the only one in this set that was like that. Now I don't know if these are connecting covers. Let me see. I'll see if I can find a couple. So that one's a 9.6. This particular customer, they had the full set, and that's not to spoil the surprise, but everything else came back at a 9.8. So there's 103, and yeah, there's very little stapleware on this one. So that's the 103 and a 9.8. I'll try to find two that are adjacent numbers. We'll see if they're also connecting covers. 101 and a 9.8. I do wish that CGC would use a better bag for the slabs, but I guess they, that leaves the market open for aftermarket bags, Mylar and stuff. 102 and a 9.8. Now, okay, so we had a 102 and a 101. Let's take a look here. I would say yes, they are connecting covers. You take a look at, there's the water tower there, connects through, and this sort of pipe here at the bottom. It's hard to see with the bag on the one, but yeah. So they are a connecting Virgin cover set where each cover is like a full depiction of one of the turtles, which is very cool. And I like the art style on that. I mean, some of the, depending when you grew up with turtles, there was the really cartoony style. I like this. I like this style better. Now we have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the 5th print variant of number 1 in a 6.5, and this was what we expected it to be. I mean, you can see here on the back in the blacks, there's a lot of color breaking creasing, and you can see these creases going down this way. Same thing across the front in here, right? Color breaking creases. Now, this is, we were able to obviously flatten all this out, smooth it all out, make it look way better. But, obviously when you've got color breaks or color breaks, you're going to be stuck with those forever, unless you want a restored label from Color Touch. I have here's the other, I guess, hold on, let's keep the turtles together. Here is the number 104, which is the last one in the connecting set in a 9.8. So 4 9.8s and 1 9.6. Would have been great if every single one of them was a 9.8. But That's the way it goes sometimes. And I'm sure that these are more for display and collector as opposed to somebody trying to maximize on resale. Web of Spider-Man #1 in a 9.2. Again, this is Web of Spider-Man #1 is an issue that has been seeing an increase in value. So even in the not super high grades, this book can be worth getting graded as well. There is a chunk of these books that are our books. These are not all client books, so some of these books are going to be directly for sale on our site. Obviously, other books are client books. If you ever see something, we can. You're like, wow, I really like that book. We can put you in touch with or we can reach out to the owner and see if they were interested in selling. No guarantees. A lot of these people are, bringing these books for personal reasons. So now here's a cool book. Andy Panda. In 4-color 154 from 1947. Now, yes, this book is a rated out of 5, and I can see not rocket science to see why. We have some pretty serious sun shadowing through here, and on the back you're going to see all this tanning lines and everything in here. Okay, now this line here coming across used to be this color all the way to the edge. We were able to clear off some of it, but this area here is like it's bleached into the paper. So the only way you're fixing that is through chemical treatment. We do not do chemical treatment because it is a restoration, because you are restoring the book to its original condition through a chemical process, and that leaches things out of the paper. There are certainly lots of people out there doing that. Lots of inexperienced people doing that. Lots of people just saying, "Oh yeah, I can take care of that for you," and they're bleaching your book so white that it looks glaringly obvious. You sort of go forth at your own risk. We don't provide that service here. We are investigating stain removal through distilled water treatments only. And we're not using any chemical additives because that still meets CGC's requirements. But it's going to be a while before that's something that we start to offer. Plus, it's going to be expensive. It just takes a long time. So only certain books are going to be, really of use in that system. Journey in the Mystery 125. Hercules' appearance, last issue, story, and numbering. So then it starts at Thor at 126. And a 6.5. But to me, this is a beautiful 6.5. Probably because it has it's like a little edge tear. Well, I shouldn't say little. It's not super little, but it's like an edge tear on this one. But it's got to be the best 6.5 copy. That I've seen. It looks beautiful. What else do we have here? We have a Daredevil number 16 in a 5. And this is the first John Romita on Spider-Man. And the first appearance of the Masked Marauder. Now, obviously, certain artists garner collectability. And certainly Romita is one of those. And Spider-Man being arguably the most popular Marvel title of all time. It's pretty iconic that this is his first work on that title. I do like that they intentionally left the entire cityscape in grayscale because it really makes Daredevil and Spider-Man pop on the cover. And again, that's a really nice looking 5. It's a 5 because there is some significant color break increasing, and there's like a long color break increasing all the way up the book. You can see where that book was folded originally when it was being read way back in 1966. We're really blessed that we've been able to work on some of the oldest comics around. I mean, we were regularly doing comics in the 40s and the 50s. We've even done some comics. I mean, they probably not even considered comics at that point, but late 30s. And it's a real pleasure to be able to work on that kind of stuff, because you really are holding, a piece of history in your hand, and pop culture and comics having political commentary. It's really interesting to see, especially some of the old like crime and suspense comics, which you almost, we don't even think about that now. Like, we don't think that there was a whole genre of like crime and detective comics. But there was all sorts of them, and they were extremely popular. It wasn't until really the superhero genre came out and sort of overpowered that whole genre. So, Ultimate Spider-Man #1, Origin of the Miles Morales Spider-Man, of course, always a perennial favorite, in a beautiful 9.8. Now, this is the variant cover. This is Sarah Pichelli is the cover artist on that one. Now, it's interesting because people always want to know like what kind of flaws you can get like in a 9.8. So what I want to point out is they talk about corners and how, a 9.8 needs to have sharp 90-degree corners and no corner wear. Now, if you take a look at this book, it's going to be hard to see. But yeah, you can see it right there. See that white rounding and puffiness right there in the corner? I mean, that's a very slight corner wear. So obviously, they are allowing one or two extremely minor flaws on these books, especially as they're really looking more at 9.9s and 10s, because previously they didn't consider them at all. 9.8 was pretty much like the highest you could get. Now that they're basically saying, okay, well, maybe that's not right, then we are seeing individual flaws being allowed in 9.8s. Okay, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero #1, newsstand edition, in a 6.5. Now, this book we expected to be a 6.5. Few reasons why. Fairly long color breaking. Crease here, and it's hard to see, but there is a, there, see, there's a color scrape goes across this book all the way across here. It's very slight, and there's another one here, okay? So we were, that was we anticipated that. That wasn't a surprise. Now I got some books that I was a big fan of, and a series is going to be made. I'm not sure if it's going to be on Netflix or whatever, but this is the Berserker. So Berserker #1. This is the foil edition. The Raphael Grandpa, Raphael Grandpa, foil in a 9.8. I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan. Not so much necessarily because of his acting, because, well, let's face it, he's not the greatest actor in the world. But he might possibly be the nicest person in Hollywood. He's just a beautiful soul, they would say. So I have a lot of time for Keanu Reeves, and he has a lot of time for his fan base as well. And I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, it's, depending on how they make it, this could be the bloodiest movie or show you're ever going to see. But there is another 9.8. This is the Brooks variant. This is the Raphael Grandpa regular non-foil cover. I think we tried to send in like one of each of our #1 covers, because we have a fair amount of these. I have more of these too, and that are likely all going to be 9.8s. as well. But we just wanted to get some of them done, so eventually we'll have them available when the show gets announced. Let's see if I have any more. Oh, yeah, here it is. Oh, I guess we sent in 2 Raphael Grandpa 9.8. Oh, maybe we said. Oh, okay, I got a Virgin one here too. Yeah, there's a Raphael Grandpa foil again in a 9.8. Then we have the Raphael Grandpa Virgin cover. Nice. We did have some raw copies. I forget what the variant was, but it was a variant with a headshot, and clearly it was Keanu Reeves. It looked just like him, and we sold those a long time ago. Would have been nice to have a couple graded, but that's the way that it goes. This is the again, this is the Raphael Grandpa foil, but this is the 4th printing foil cover. Who knows how the printings are going to shake out on this particular run. Sometimes later printings are the more valuable ones. So it just, sort of depends on how it goes. We have a Spider-Man #1 gold edition in a 9.8. Again, these Spider-Man #1s slowly creeping up in value between, the gold and the silver and the polybag editions. And quite often, we get these in almost every collection that we get has some of these. And for whatever reason, people took care of these books. Most of the copies that we see are in excellent condition, 9.4s and higher. So, and then X-Men #105. This is Fire Lord Lilandra, Misty Knight, and Eric the Red appearance, Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum cameo. And it's the Dave Cockrum cover, and Dave Cockrum and Bob Layton art in a 9.0. That's a nice book. So there you go, folks. That is this box. Nothing else hiding in the bottom. No. So if you have books in this this batch, we'll be reaching out to you shortly, letting you know that they are ready for pickup or shipping. The next box, I'm anticipating about 3 weeks from now, we should be getting it back based on the delay between this box and that box going into CGC. And that has some, we'll have some very nice vintage stuff coming back. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and you guys all have a great Merry Christmas, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao.